So as you probably gathered, we did go to the ceilidh last night, and it was great fun. Met some very friendly people. So thanks to Peter and Mitch and Ian, who really made me feel very welcome as a passerby, and they were clearly very proud of their village hall, and they have a right to be so, because it's an impressive building, and it's taken a lot of community work and really serves the community, I think, you know, to build it, to keep it going, and it actually runs at a profit, which is also impressive. So we're here at this beach, and just going to venture out into the strong winds, and I think it should be great fun for Tilly. This may look like a lot of our blustery walks yesterday, but it has a significant difference, two significant differences. One, we just go for a short stroll before getting back into the van. Two, I found my woolly hat. Rejoice with me, for I found that which was lost. Lovely countryside, very strong winds, and Tilly and I have decided, well, I've decided to chicken out tonight. Partly because we're leaving on a ferry, we need to be there reasonably early in the morning, and so we're staying tonight in a little hotel guest house in Ullapool, which will be our first night not in the van since we left home, and it'll be a nice break. Well, this is a lovely sheltered beach here, and a howling gale is going right over the top of us here, and you can't tell. I've had a few problems with the audio recording on some of these videos. It's a bit strange. Occasionally I'll film a clip and there's just no audio in it at all, and there's no setting to mute audio on the camera, so it's clearly a software bug. But it is annoying. If you get back to the van and you discover that your 1.5 minute spiel to camera has no sound, it's just me moving my lips. So I've tried putting this in a slightly different mode, which doesn't try to do the surround sound, on a hope that it'll actually be more reliable. And we'll see whether that turns out to be the case, but apologies if the quality of the sound changes, either for better or worse at this point. But I'll have a look tonight and see whether it seems to be an improvement. I love the shape of these rocks here. Head. Fabulous. Come down closer. Clearly some big waves are being thrown up from time to time, though, by these winds. Either that or the tide's retreating very fast because these stones are recently wet. Very good. There's some interesting patterns playing on the water out here, where the wind coming down from behind me starts to hit it, and then further over I can see some enormously big waves spraying up in the areas where the wind's had a free run. But lovely sounds here, very gentle lapping of waves on rocky pebbly shore. Quite a contrast to the tumult that's up above. And Tilly's going rock climbing. Tilly, what are you finding? There's a wonderful effect here. As the waves come in, the strong wind catches the peak. There's also a little black dot down there, which is a seal, but it'll be too far away to see on this lens. But in a minute, when you get a big wave, you can see the spray coming off the top of it. Here's a big one. And the wind will catch it in a minute. There, and you get this wonderful spray coming off the top. Again, I'll insert a photo of that. Right, Tilly will want to get down to the beach. Huge expanse, very clean, very flat, perfect for spaniels to run on. summer, because you've got all these little things to climb on and these little coves between them, and occasional seals to watch as well. Really lovely. Well, thank you to Achnahaird beach. This is one of these places where you want to be confident about how you're going to turn around. Now that's interesting. What is... Oh, I think it's a bin holder. I was thinking it was some bit of winching equipment or something for pulling boats up from the sea, but I think actually it's a bin holder. It's just that there aren't any bins here at the moment. So, we've left the Porter Bay campsite. We are staying tonight in Ullapool, and my plan is to do a little loop northwards and follow the coast, probably staying in the van rather more today, after our long hike yesterday, and but I expect we'll be getting out at the very least to take photos on a pretty regular basis. So the road along the coast goes, the one we're taking eventually goes to Lochinver, and then there's a more main road back which brings us all the way back down to Ullapool. And I don't plan to get to Ullapool too late, because frankly I'm looking forward to relaxing in a nice hotel room tonight, and maybe getting the van a little bit sorted out before we head off to the Isle of Lewis tomorrow morning. One thing I discovered last night about Achnahaird, which I think I'm now pronouncing correctly just as I'm leaving, the way I remember it is, I think, a faculty. It goes like that. Because if you just read it, you've got no... I thought it was Achnahaird or something when I think it's Achnahaird. Anyway, one thing I discovered after my comments yesterday about, oh, it's got a little fire station and so on, is it's actually quite a bit bigger than I thought, or at least Achnahaird isn't, but there are about 5 villages in a row stretched out down there, all very small, but actually, you know, they add up to a reasonable number of people. Strong winds up here as well on this little loch. Oh, and it flows out down to the sea. Just come over this hill and look at this panorama ahead of me. That is quite a view. I've turned the camera off just a moment before. Of course, that's when you get to see the good views. Sorry about the blurry windscreen, but this is a good road. Lots of little hints of lochs peeping through various places, and a fine windy road. This camera does some clever things of trying to keep the horizon level. You know, its accelerometers know which way is up, which way is down, and also it by default locks your world view so that as the camera rotates, your view keeps pointing in the same direction. But this can make for some slightly strange feeling motion, I think, when you're in something like a car, and I'll have to have an experiment to see whether I want to turn that off or not. If I turn it off, then I have to do more stabilization myself. But you get the problem in a car, of course, that as you're accelerating and decelerating, the accelerometers think, you know, gravity is shifting, and it's not always clear with 360-degree cameras what the right thing to do there is. If you get the feel of acceleration, but you also get the feel of, you know, the world tilting in a way that it isn't actually tilting, and this can be a bit bizarre, particularly if, say, you're looking sideways. So it's yeah, interesting thing. This does it rather differently from the Ricoh camera I used to use, and the stabilization in general on this is very, very good, but some of the side effects of stabilization are, you know, especially in a moving vehicle, give me slightly strange feelings, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how best, you know, whether there's a good way to edit this so that it feels a little more natural. Fish hatchery, yes, what it might be. You can't really see from here, but there are these long green tunnels. There's water running down through them in various ways. Yeah, that's quite fun. I think, I wonder if it's open to visitors in the summer. Quite interesting to see the salmon hatchery. These are the sort of places, maybe not that one just there, because that's a bit steep, a bit slopey, but there are, you could see why wild camping around here would be so appealing. I probably shouldn't really have booked into a hotel room tonight. That's very cowardly, but I did want to look marginally presentable when I turn up at this Airbnb tomorrow, and so I thought perhaps sleeping in the van overnight, you know, not having a shower in the morning and so on. Maybe there are showers on the ferry. This did occur to me, but I don't know in advance. So we're not going to be roughing it tonight. This is pretty. This isn't exactly sheltered, but it is room to pull over, and what a view. Yeah, lunch here will suit me very well. Oh, this is perfect. This is actually really sheltered, and I've got a fabulous view all the way round. And yeah, well, there's some wind, but it'll be fine to put the top up. What a great spot. Tilly will want to come and sit outside in this. Let her go and let her out. Back actually. Here, Tiddles, would you like to be outside? Just a few drops of rain, actually. Might not want to be out for too long. Now, this is going to seem slightly bizarre in these surroundings, but what I'm going to have for lunch, if I can get it out, is a Tesco's pizza. Ta-da! Or at least half of it. Now, This isn't ideal here because I've just moved away from the campsite where I'm going to have washing up facilities afterwards, so I'm going to have to do some washing up and things here as well. But hey, it's nice to be in a situation where you can. This I could save, but I'm conscious it hasn't been in the fridge for a little while, and yeah, I should probably eat it sooner rather than later. Buffalo, mozzarella and sun-soaked tomatoes. Those tomatoes will be having a nasty shock now they've got here. And but I've discovered, if I haven't said before, that this little ridge monkey is quite good for cooking pizza. You just have to cut it into kind of quarters or something like that to be able to fit it in there. And I think actually warm pizza in this climate would be quite a nice thing. So looking forward to lunch. Oh, there you go. I have freshly cooked pizza, orange juice, olives, chocolate chip cookies, and I have a view that very few hotels on earth could beat. Well, there we go. Not only have I had hot pizza, freshly pressed coffee and chocolate chip cookies, but I have also washed up, dried up and put everything away. There's some actual danger of me becoming a reasonably civilized human being. Okay, last thing we need to do is to put the roof down. And to put the roof down, because the roof is a big bellows basically, if I just try and pull it down now, it tends to bulge outwards, and these bits are meant to come inwards. There's quite a large volume of air here, and so what you need to do to put it down is you need to open something. You need to open a window or whatever, and then these will come in very easily, and the whole thing folds up neatly, which I would demonstrate, except I can't with the camera there. But you get the idea. All you do with this roof is you just pull it down, and a little bit of pulling things in, and it's actually really, really quick to put up and down. We nearly bought at VW California, which has a fancy electric roof and so on. It's very cute. You can sit in your driving seat and press a button and the roof goes up, but you still have to do the opening of the windows, and actually it takes quite a bit longer for the thing to wind slowly up than it does popping this thing up and down. So in the end, I think I prefer a manual one, and there's less to go wrong. Just open the windows to give you a little bit more of the view here. I think we're going to push on to Lochinver. It's not very far away, but these are slow roads. And you might ask why I didn't assume that we would just stop and have lunch or coffee in Lochinver. And normally I would, and indeed I may well be able to. But firstly, this is such a wonderful spot. Secondly, hey, it's kind of fun to be able to do all of these in your car. And thirdly, however, this is a Sunday, and up here a lot of things tend to be closed on a Sunday. I imagine, I don't know whether Lochinver is big enough that things are going to be open there, but certainly once I get out onto Lewis, I think I'm actually not going to be there on a Sunday on this trip, but I gather everything pretty much shuts down on Lewis and Harris on the Sabbath. So one thing this van doesn't have, which larger vans generally do, is a hot water system. So what's common these days on anything much bigger than this is that you'll have a little hot water tank, which when you're plugged in, you can run from an immersion heater. And just looking, very pretty shot there. I'm not sure there's an interesting enough light to make a photo really. Let's carry on. So when you're plugged in at a campsite, you have a tank full of hot water, and often these things can be run on diesel and so on as well. Now, my friend Peter lent me his campervan before we ever bought this, which was a slightly bigger one, a Murphy, and it had an older Eberspacher heater, and in addition to those, it had one really civilized facility. It was plumbed in to the engine's heating system, or at least a heat exchanger was. And so whenever you'd been driving even more than a few minutes and you stopped, you had hot water available.
So things like washing up in the van were always really, really easy. Here, they don't do that anymore. At least I think Mervy, who make those vans, are reluctant to fit them because they're so much harder to fit, where you have to actually get in under the bonnet in a way that most van builders don't have to do. So they tend to just have the electric or sometimes gas or diesel powered separate heaters that are not making use of the engine heat. But I did like the old system. Characteristic memories I'm going to have of this place, I think, is these low clouds. They're generally just above the hill, but as far as you can see out to sea, they're hanging just, oh, I don't know, 300 feet up, something like that. And these houses along here have a splendid view, even if it is of low hanging clouds. Very pleasant spot is Inverkirkhaven. Okay, now this is very cool. Just over here, behind the rather ugly blue bin, is Lochinver Primary School, and it's on this promontory which goes out into this little loch, so it's surrounded on three sides by water. What a great place to have a school, and surrounded by these lovely, lovely hills as well. I think that'll be a lovely spot to start your educational process. Well, here we are in Lochinver, and there's a little bit of a marina here, but this is also clearly a very serious port. I hadn't realised this. It's a small town, but there are some larger ships here, or at least not very large ships, but along here, I mean, they clearly come here because along here there's this big sort of container and shipping handling area. I don't know if we can see much by driving up here. In the harbour. The little town is ahead of us, but you'll see what I mean as we drive along here. I wonder what comes in here, whether this is, or what goes out here. There is a more main road, obviously. These trucks, you see, which are all docking here, they are not doing so, they're not coming along the road we've just come along. They're coming along the road we're about to go back along. And this is Spanish. Quite a lot of these are Spanish, and I'm guessing, you know, maybe it's seafood. I wonder what they're picking up here. Vegetable. Yeah, it looks, well, this one at least looks like fishing related, so maybe fish is caught here and taken to Spain. Who knows? That's a long trek. A very different climate. Now, the other thing that's bizarre here is that there's a Pete's Coffee place here. Now, I presume it's the right fonts. I presume this is the same Pete's that sort of runs cafes on the west coast of the States. Very good coffee. So actually, I don't know if it is open, but if it had been, that would have been a good alternative to my coffee in the van. Place we've been through for quite a while that's big enough to have some traffic lights. I think those are the only traffic lights, but
lights are on in the village hall.
A little cash point. And this looks like parking space. So I might give Tilly a bit of a stroll. There you go, what a lovely natural harbour this is. Just out there, it's the North Atlantic. A lovely spot. I don't think that was an amazing road that we've just been along. I don't think I've done a very good job of filming it, partly because of the low light. Talking of low light, how's that? Partly because of the low light, partly because I was busy driving or cooking, partly because there's been a little bit of rain, not very much at all, but it has sort of been driving across, so I haven't wanted to get out and do a lot of filming. But it really is a lovely road, and particularly, you know, at any other time of the year when it was a little bit brighter, I strongly recommend, if you have the chance, to take the road from Achnahaird up to Lochinver. No. Yes, Lochinver. I'm not good at these names, that I do recommend it. It's one of the prettiest bits of scenery I've driven through in the UK, I think. It's lovely. Right, Tilly will be very keen to get outside, so let's go and have a little walk.
Well, if I wanted to imagine the place least like living in a campervan that I could think of, and not quite the least like living in the campervan, but a really big contrast to where we've been for the last week and a half, it would be over there. This is the Cayley place. This is where we're staying tonight. Come inside and I'll show you what it's like. So we come into reception here, but before we go up to our room, I'll just show you a very nice little cozy sitting room here. Not sure if we'll make use of this on this trip, but certainly a nice place to relax. Let's go back through to reception. Through here is the bar and restaurant, which we'll be going to later. We go upstairs here. And look at this. Oh, hello, Tilly. So, you stay here. So we have a big bed that we don't have to unfold and we don't have to inflate. We have heating that we don't have to step over all the time. And we have a nice little bathroom. Let's see, how do we do this? Light. There you go. Nice shower room here. If I go out here again, there's fun paintings all around. And through here we get to the residence lounge. And there's somebody here, so I won't talk in here, but I'll just walk around. Good evening. And here's a little bar, kitchen, coffee and tea making facilities, and price list, because it's just an honesty box for the bar. Very nice. I'm going to come through here in a minute. So you see what I mean? Not quite a campervan. The main road back from Lochinva to here was actually really beautiful as well, and if it had been a little bit more light I would have taken some photos and done some more filming there, but just because it's the main road didn't mean it didn't have spectacular views, and so either of those two roads, or indeed doing the whole loop when there's a little more daylight, definitely recommended. However, now I think for a little, maybe a shower, a little relaxation. Well, I'm
here in the restaurant at the Cayley place, and had some very nice starters and main course, and still treating myself to a dessert here, which is a baked cheesecake with a glass of top bag. Very nice it is.